Nō reira e te whānau, kua huri te wā ki te 3 meneti pahi I te kau with 3 minutes past 10 e te whānau. Nō reira, I think we'll just have our start with our tikanga, with our karakia, kia timata I tēnei o ngā hōtaka hira, ko Matariki. Kia inoi tātou. Tērā ko Puanga, tērā ko Matariki, ka rewa I te pai, nau mai, hara mai te hua o te tauhou. Tākiri ko te ata, ka pua te ata, kōrihi te manu, tino awa tia, tuia. Ko te tangi mai o te korimako I te ata tū ka takatū, e rongo whakairi ake ki runga, tutu whakamaua kia tina, hui e, tai ki e. Te matatau, mātahi o te tau, tā hui whetu o Matariki, ko Puanga era e arihi ana I a tātou, tēnei te mihi nui kia rātou. Ka hoki ngā mahara kia rātou, kua wheturangitia, kua hopukina e te kupenga a taramainuku, moi mai rā, e kore e warewaretia. Ara, ka huri ki te hunga ora. Nau mai whakatau mai koutou ki te wānanga nei, I runga I te kaupapa o te wā. Ara, ko Matariki me ngā tamariki mokopuna katoa. Nō tātou ke te whiwhinga ki te whakarongo ki ngā kai kōrero ki te rongo I a rātou nei mōhiotanga. Nō reira, ko ai tēnei e koro atu ki a koutou I tēnei ata, ko Kaareen Hotereni tōku ingoa, ana ko taku tūpuna, kei muri a hau ko tōrere nui a rua tērā. He mihi tēnei mai I te tōpito o te ao, ko kawarau tērā. I tēnei rā, kai te haramai a Michelle Haua no te tairawhiti, ki te kōrero hoki ki a koutou. So just those ones who've missed our little kōrero I te ata, that we're still waiting for Rere Ata Mākiha to make his appearance, but ki te kore, if our matua, because he is a busy rangatira, and te tohunga nui o nei momo mahi o Matariki isn't here, we're just going to have a conversation, Michelle and I, and hopefully with your questions and with your little bits and pieces added to their whānau, we're going to get some more mōhiotanga, some maramatanga flowing. Nō reira, kia ora koutou, katoa, no whāngarei, tēnā koutou. Kia ora, kia koutou katoa, whanganui, o tautahi, kia ora e hua whai Rhonda, tino pai. Nō reira, tēnei wā, kei te huatu tēnei wā kia koe, Michelle, kia whakamohio koe, no hea koe, kei hea koe, noho ana I tēnei wā. Over to you.
Kia ora tātou I te whānau, ko hikarangi te maunga, ko ai apu te awa, ko ngā te parau te iwi, ko Michelle Haua ahau. So I am currently working at Hiruharama School here in the beautiful Tairāwhiti, Ruatoria, and I have started the last couple of years implementing the maramataka within my classroom. So while we don't use it as a whole school, I'm just exploring and experimenting with how it works for me. So I'm happy to have any questions. I'm not too sure. Maybe you'll have to share the questions with me, Kaareen, as we go along, because I'm not too techy with this Zoomy thing. So as questions come along. So maybe you can prompt me with questions as we go.
Yes. Well, we can just start on that. So you've worked with Matariki and the calendar for a couple of years now. So what are some of the benefits you've seen for your tamariki?
The main ones for me is that like I've got a very complex class. I have 6 autistic children. Out of 27, I've got 6 autistic children, 10 behavioural, and the rest just our Māori tamariki. I mean, they're all we have 100% Māori in our kura, so we're lucky to have strictly just Māori tamariki. We might have a Pākehā now and then. We had a Tongan girl one part there, but at the moment we full te reo Māori, tamariki that are Māori. So, prompt me again, your question, how do I use it in my classroom?
Yes, what benefits have you seen?
What benefits have I seen? Oh, okay, so the main benefits for me is I use the Healthy Families East Cape maramataka poster that they put out a few years ago, and I think it's based on Te Kaha, that area. So it was written by contribution to this work from Michelle Mihi-Tibble, Dr. Rangi Mātāmua, and Wiramu Tāwhai. So they created this document a while back, and it has a description of energies, high energies, medium energies, and low energies. And it has observations and activities that go in alignment with that. So I use that to inform me as best I can in terms of when to test our children, what kind of energy levels are going to be in on that day. And if it's a low energy day, we'll just do low impact stuff. If it's a high energy day, we might do testings and things like that. Like, for instance, today is Huna. That's the phase of the moon at the moment, and the energy levels are pretty low. And it's the description that they have is a day to be introspective and reclusive, limit contact and making yourself available to others, plan short-term goals that you want to achieve over the week, hold wānanga on the ocean pollution and how to create positive change. So today's a pretty cool day to do our webinar, you know, being nice and cozy indoors and things like that. So we use that, or I use that. So each day I use that for the writing. That's what they write, their handwriting. The kids will use that in the classroom. So they start to become familiar with the energy levels. They become familiar with the type of energy that we're going to go through that day. But then, again, I still use it in terms of how I plan based on that kōrero.
Oh, wow, awesome.
Yeah.
So in your kura, are you the only kaiako that plans that way or uses our maramataka?
I am the only one, although others are interested, and being such, I mean, teaching is such a crazy busy profession. So unless you want to put your whole heart into it, it requires a bit of extra energy. And sometimes when our kaiako are busy, they, you know, it's sort of like another layer of something to do. So,
Right.
and for me, I'm still learning myself, so I don't want to preach it yet until I know. I mean, it's my philosophy, it's what I use, and I think it's effective. So it's up to each individual to buy into whether they want to use this type of planning or learning or, using the maramataka as a tool, really. Yeah.
Right. So would that be one of your ultimate goals, though, eventually for your whole kura to come on board, or slowly but surely, little by little?
Absolutely, absolutely. I'd really, really love for that to happen. But like I said, they have to have buy-in too. And it would be so awesome because I hear there are kura out there that their kura are actually using the maramataka as we speak, collect the whole kura is. So I'd really like to see that happening here too, at my kura. Yeah.
Right. I think there was, I've just seen really fastly, one of our whānau watching said, teacher of year 2 to 3 tamariki, mainstream kura, I would love to use maramataka in my classroom, but not sure where to start for them to understand.
Yeah, so like, for instance, Living by the Stars, it's a nice Facebook page. I'm not too sure if you've seen it, Kaareen, by Rangi Mātāmua, is it?
Right.
Yeah, Living by the Stars, and just getting familiar with that. I have an app, it's called Huna. You can download this app, it's called Huna, and it tells you what phase of the moon the name and what phase the moon is in. And it tells you whether it's good for planting, whether it's good for eeling, whether it's good for fishing. So I use that as a basis or a reminder each day of what phase the moon is in. And I've just lost track of your question again.
No, that's right. It was just a starting point for those.
Whether they want to,
with younger classes anyway.
So I'm not too sure if you're able to download the Healthy Families. It's called Healthy Families East Cape Maramataka poster. And see if you can download that. And that's got all the phases of the moon from Rākau Nui right down to Turu. And within that's got the energy levels and the observations and activities within that. So that's a good starting point. And I also have a copy of Dr. Rangi Mātamua's recent digital maramataka. So that's available. You can buy that online through his Facebook page. And that tells you exactly what phase the moon is in. And it has a little wee kōrero te reo Māori of each of the phases of the moon in te reo Māori, so I use that. So, yeah, you could possibly start with the digital or some form of... can you just excuse me? Can you hear that in the background? I've got my husband having a loud conversation.
Real life by Michelle. Cooker, real life cooker. Okay.
Shall I just go and tell him to turn the volume down?
All right, Pai. Okay, Pai.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, whānau.
I think he just wants to steal my limelight.
Real life, Koto, real life. So just in case you didn't know that, Whai Michelle's talking to us from the East Coast, Tairāwhiti, from Puanga, she's a teacher at Hiru Harama, so that's what her practice is doing. I was just looking at the Q&A. And maramataka, could you explain what is maramataka and how it works? So there's a few... E hara au I te tohunga, I'm not an expert at this whānau, and we were waiting for the experts to come in. But certainly maramataka is, you could say, a way of doing or a way of being and listening to our taiao, listening to nature, listening to all of the forces around us, and especially around the moon phases, the moon phases. So when we talk about that, like Whai was saying, Koka Michelle was saying, that each phase of the moon, so each night there's a different phase of the moon, and each of those phases bring a different energy and different, all to do with in the environment that will be able to tell us what's best to do, how to do things, and what to plant, what to fish, or whatever. Also using that as the energies inside our classroom. So when she said there was and phases, there are high energy phases of the moon and low energy phases and in between ones. So what she tries to do is structure her plan, her school plan, her room class plan to interact successfully with those energies. So in other words, when it's a high energy day, you're not going to, the high energy days, good days for exams, near fire.
Testing, anything where yeah.
You need that extra energy to focus.
You want things done, get the business done.
With a low energy day, so some of the kura that I know, low energy days, that's when they put all their hākinakina or sports times in those low energy days to get their children motivated and ready for that phase. Or, hey, kei te tika tērā?
Aye. And the descriptions in there are really really awesome in terms of, like I said, today is a day for introspective and to be reclusive. So, you know, it's lovely. It's a Saturday. It's nice to be indoors, get some work done. So I might spend a couple of hours doing kura mahi, and then I'll just relax and maybe do some Netflix or something like that. So, you know, you just really use that to your advantage. And for me, with my autistic children, particularly, these come in really handy. See, one might be like, I'm just reading Kamatea Tuhaha. It's a low energy day. Be wary of your thoughts that they remain positive, because like in the classroom, for example, you know, you might want things done and your energy levels could be low, but it's telling me that I must remain positive. And that, because all our kids go through all sorts of things, we don't know what's happening at home and their home lives and things like that. And just in general, we should be positive anyway, but it's a reminder for me to be wary of others as well. Emotions at this time can arise, so breathe and take time to centre yourself. So we might do some meditation on that day.
Right.
And just relax and sort of look after. So we might do something on feelings or growth mindset and things like that. So it sort of dictates what I'll deliver. Don't take unnecessary risks. So that tells you a lot. A great time to cleanse areas outside your workplace or at home. So we might go out and do some gardening or something, or go explore and do some science related mahi outside in the ngahere, and get spiders and examine spiders and things like that. So it's limitless what you can do with it, because there's often they say go into blue spaces or go into green spaces. So for green spaces, let's go into the ngahere, go into the bush, do some exploring, go for a hikoi, learn about our area. So we do Te Papatiki o Te Awe Mapara, and it's a mōtiatia that covers every inch of Hiruharama, and each area has a kōrero behind it. So within that mōtiatia, especially our Rumaki Reo, they go and visit these places. So they're actually touching the land and listening to stories that happen in that area. And so it's limitless what you can do with it, and it's up to your imagination really as to how you interpret it and you use it in your classroom.
And the fact that it's already laid out there, you can pre-plan everything.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Not just with the energy levels, but what's within the description that gives you lots of detail as to how best to work with your tamariki.
Right. Okay, te whānau, we've got some buzzing questions going around here. So just so if you didn't know, if you have your settings in the chat to panelists and attendees, then you'll see all the links that the staff behind this webinar are putting up for you. So I'll just visit Diane Pivac. You had a question. Can we in Tai Tokero use an East Cape maramataka? Are there regional variations? And as soon as she said that, one of our ladies has put up the Tai Tokero maramataka. So e te whānau, each region has their own variation of the moon phases, the star or the stars, and all those interpretations. So it is best to look in your own region for those variations. And for for sites like the Tuhi ladies that put out the maramataka and diaries and all of that, they explain that with their resources as well, because they use tētahi maramataka, but they also have the East Coast one, I think, side by side, so that you can see those variations. But last year we had Whaiheni, who from Te Tai Tokero, who also shared her maramatanga and everything, or her maramataka as well. Ka hoki atu ki tēnei. Can you implement this on whiro days? So whiro is not a good day to do anything much. Day of rest. What's your whakaaro on that one, Michelle?
I'm just going to look for it. Fiddle, where are you?
Yeah, we try and do, so like for celebrations and all of that, that's not a good day to do your celebrations. So if you're looking at celebrating Puanga or Matariki in the time of that phase, we know Pipiri started last week, the maramataka tuturu, or Pipiri started last week or just the week before, goes through to July, middle of July. Ragi Mātama always says don't celebrate anything on Whiro. You know, that's the day dot one, or in one calendar it's the last day or the first day of the calendar, ne?
Okay, so I've got it here, Kaareen, and it's a low energy day.
Yep.
And it says, be cautious and careful outside, be creative inside. A good day for strategic planning and setting long-term goals. Gather data, insights, and monitor performance along with accountability. Cut bad habits on this day. So that's a lot of information right there. You know, don't go outside, stay inside, do crafts, arts, or something like that. Strategic planning, so you're still indoors, but you're actually doing something positive on a low energy day, setting long-term goals, gathering data. So yeah, it's basically stay indoors and we're going to do digital technology or something like that. And yeah, it says to hold bad habits on that day, so that might be a good day to give up chocolate, maybe, Kaareen.
Oh. Okay. So when I was talking about just before in the Ngā Puka Puka Anei Ngā Tohu monthly planning, this is from Tuhi Stationery, and in there, okay, no whānau, you can't see this properly, but I've just given you a little quick glance there. They have both maramataka, the one from Te Whānau Apanui and the one that majority of people use. So there are slight differences. For instance, the Te Whānau, the majority of what people use, the first day is Whiro, which is the first kore, you know, there's no moon. Oh, you know, what do you call it? Yeah, the first phase of the moon is Whiro, whereas for Te Whānau Apanui, that is the 16th day in the whole cycle of the moon. Okay, so variations very different from each other. However, the tikanga around them is ahua oritene, is the same, it's very similar. Okay, hea hatua no. Oh, kapai. Christina Leaf. Kia ora whānau, excited for the session. I'm interested to understand the journey path of Puanga. I heard Puanga started in Aotearoa and settled in Rarotonga. Now, I know I saw some of our whānau from Taranaki and Whanganui who i whai rātou i a Puanga, that they follow the star settings of Puanga, and perhaps they'll be able to enlighten you on that. However, for those whānau who don't know, when we're talking about ngā whetū i Naenei and Matariki and Puanga, so where Michelle is sitting on Te Tai Rāwhiti at the time of the rising of Matariki, then beautiful, you can see all of ngā whetū, well, if it's not cloudy, that is.
It's been cloudy.
Over the ocean and everything. However, when you come across to the west coast specifically, or those people who follow, or some places up to Taitokero, who follow the star of Puanga, because by the time Matariki rises, the sun is up, you know, because they're on the other side, on the west coast. So Puanga rises a little earlier above Matariki, and then so when they get up in their dawn, 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you can see Puanga much more clearly. As the stars shift, or as the earth moves, whichever way you're looking at it, then by the time Matariki comes over into their horizon, the sun is coming up, so it's really difficult to see. That's anyway, tētahi kōrero e pāna ki tēnā, but however, all through the tau, you can see Puanga and Matariki in the sky together, you know, depending on what time of the year where you're at and what's your purpose of looking at them for, eh? So Puanga is a guiding, like Matariki, is that for the people on the West Coast. Those ones from Taranaki, Whanganui and Te Taitokero, Te Waipounamu who follow Puanga and have a better clarity and understanding of that, please, tuhi mai ki roto I nā kōrero nei, ne? Ko mā koutou tērā o nā whetū. All right, I think there's been a lot of questions answered. Yip. Oh, hang on, let me see. How does this meet up with te aho matua hoki mate? Kia ora hoki mate, paraha. Oh, wow. No nā tūpuna e nei whakaaro, ne, I tuku iho ki a mātou, ne? No rātou nā māramatanga, no rātou ke nā mōhiotanga, nā mātauranga, ko te mahi o te kaiako, ka whāngai atu tēnā mōhiotanga ki ngā tamariki mokopuna. Ko ai rātou, ko rātou te pūtake o te ao, nērā, ko ngā tamariki mokopuna. So I roto I te ao, tēnei ao, ana koina tō hononga mai nā atua ki a tātou nei. Ne? So kia ora mo tērā. All right, there's a whole bunch of 21 new questions. Do you know of maramataka? Yes, so Te Waipounamu, like I said, follows some Puanga e Matariki, but koina tō koutou rangahau, eh? That's what you can rangahau yourselves and talk to the people in that area. Okay. All right. So I've just another message here. Next webinar is with Dr. Rongo Ngata, facilitated by Zane and Lisa Johnston. And I'm sure kei a rātou nā mōhiotanga ne, kuka Michelle. So Hi. Any other, me pēhea te whai tautoko mai I te whakaruruhau o te kura mō ngā pōkapu whakako reo Māori ki ngā kura auraki, kei tau kume te hōtako tēnā ki tērā. Geez, he tino pātai tērā, nā mihi nui. Yes, me pēhea tātou te whai tautoko te whakaruruhau o te kura auraki. Ai! Oh man, that's a whole wānanga on itself. So... I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to come back to that answer. But I just find, Michelle, do you have anything else of your gems of wisdom to share with us?
For me, like maramataka is something that you'll, like for me, I was raised, we had gardens, Dad followed the maramataka. We knew when to go fishing, when to go diving, when the kōhai trees blossoming, we observed the environment and the kōhai tree, when they're bright and yellow, that's a sign to everybody that the kinas are fat. Little wee thing, observations. And so maramataka is a whole way of living and being. We follow the moon to know when it's a high tide, low tide, know he's going up or dive, it's a high tide, and all those sorts of things, when to plant kumara and stuff like that. So it's something you can't just pick up and learn. I mean, there's a lot of information you can get, but you actually have to live it as well, with your gardening and your hoe water, all that sort of stuff. I've got a waiata here. I'm not going to sing it. I'm just, if you want me to share it. It's a waiata written by, I forget his real name. We call him Choppy Kurarangi, and sung by my daughter. And it was an interview that Irana Keelan had on Radio New Zealand. So I can play that whenever you want me to.
Right, cool.
And hopefully...
exiting track near.
Okay, then you just let me know when. And hopefully it can be heard, because I've got my laptop here and the iPad is doing the Zoom on the iPad. So hopefully the sound will be of good quality.
Ka pai. All right, whānau, if you're looking at the chat, you have had some answers from our whānau from Taranaki in regards to Puanga and why they followed Puanga, and from Matua, Motua Lawrence, wharero, thank you. Sorry, I'm not sure what sport I play now. Is that the question? No, but also from Tai Tokero, enjoy an earlier and longer growing season, hence Puanga's more relevant. So, but because of the curvature of the planet, that's why Matariki at times can't be viewed on that side and on the west coast. So, o tautahi, I'm not sure, you'd have to ata rangahau I tērā, whether it's Puanga or Matariki. Tūmanako Kururangi. Kia ora.
Ai.
Kia ora mo tēnā, Lisa. Okay, what does Tāmaki follow? Matariki. Matariki. Yeah, koina. Okay, no reira, wetahi atu pātai. Hang on, let me check me a momo notes. Ko. Mihi waiata. Oh yes, beautiful waiata out there for Matariki for nā maramataka. Does maramataka correspond with the tui planting calendar? I do not know. Probably, maybe. Have no idea. We'll put that up ki runga rā kia whakautu mai I tēnā. So I did have whakaro. Oh yes. So tērā pia kua rongo koutou I te kura o Ngāti Rongo mai ki Rotorua nei. A few weeks ago, they had an announcement that they are following the maramataka. So I was at a hui the other day, and Matua Tūkiterangi Curtis, ngā mihi nui ki Āia me tōna Hoaranga Tira Renata, explained how they got to using the putting together their maramataka, and which involves changing the year cycle, as we know, of term 1, term 2, term 3 and term 4. So hopefully one day we get to whakarongo ki a rātou. In the meantime, exciting stuff. So with his little paku rangahau, he's done a lot of rangahau tū ki te rangi, but the thing that stood out to me when he shared his kōrero was that he looked at where we call hotoke or winter, which is now, it's in this period. And over the last couple of years, or few years, he's seen how many of our Māori whānau, our kuia, our kaumātua, actually Māori mā, Pākehā mā, pass away at this time. And how it's taumaha, it's hotoke, it's winter. And what do? We're crazy running around. Kaiakuma, we're crazy running around. Normally, looking after young ones, looking after our own whānau in the most coldest and miserable time, Era momo whakaro I putata, so those things came out. So while they were doing it, they said, well, what did our ancestors used to do in the time of winter? In the time of hotoke, it was a time of rest. Ne? Rest, recuperating, wānanga ki roto I te whare, sitting inside in the warmth, reciting karakia, reciting waiata. So, and not being, and doing all of those things. And then we have to look at our own practice. COVID taught us some things, and this is what he said, COVID taught us some things, because at that time we were able to have a rest. We were able to talk kanohi ki te kanohi with our own whānau, whereas most of the time we're running around. We are, ne, kaiokuma. So in all of that, what they've done with the went through all the red ropes and everything like that, that's what they're doing. So when this time next year, this will be the end of their fourth term going into the winter. Then they will have a long winter break, 4 or 5 weeks, depending on the rising of Matariki. Then come into the new year, starting after the rising of Matariki. So exciting whānau, and so Awesome. So not only are they changing their whole calendar to reflect the teachings of our tupuna, our ancestors, but they also do the planning like Kuka Michelle inside the classroom in regards to the moon phases, looking at the energy levels of what activities that they should be doing with their tamariki. So beautiful. And I think for me, it's just been through the likes of these kind of webinars that we're able to create that understanding and that maramatanga that goes with all that, with the kai kōrero like Dr. Rangi Mātāmua, and with our matua today, Rereata Mākiha. If you have, he's just inspirational. So he isn't in front of us at this moment, whānau mā. However, his knowledge has trickled down to us, ne, Koka?
Absolutely.
For me, there's my knowledge, tino iti, pēnei, and so we are so fortunate to have them and recordings of them on YouTube and through things like Māori TV, media files and archives and all of that, to be able to have those that kōrero to start your journey. So if those questions about starting journeys and where to begin, rangahau, research, thinking, looking, reading, watching, talking, all of those things are very, very important. Hang on, let me see. Oh, yes. Hana Rāwhiti Maipi Clark, a student from Huntley College, has released the book Mahina, aimed at rangatahi to use the maramataka. Yes, she's a beautiful kōtiro, beautiful wahine. Oh, I thought she was at Rākau Mangamanga. But hey, Kate Pai, she's at Huntley College now. She put out a few resources last year because she was passionate about it, a young kōtiro, young wahine, and now she's made it her Pākihi, her business. Right. Has it changed? Oh, here's one. Hene. Kia ora whai hene. What changes have you noticed, Kuka Michelle, when implementing the maramataka around learning behaviour?
We have a pretty good behaviour management system within our kura, but definitely it's when it's a high energy day, sometimes those behaviours can just accelerate, and but knowing what energies will determine how I manage the kids too. The real energetic ones, we out there, we thrashing them up the hill and blasting that energy out of them, and then we'll come back and they're potaho, so they just sit back and relax. So the behaviours of the children, they seem happier. I feel they when I've implemented it, it's more like developing a relationship. You're not fighting, you're not in conflict with them all the time, you're not forcing them. It doesn't become a job anymore, it becomes a partnership, and we're just working like a happy whānau. And like most whānaus, you fall off the rails sometimes, but you just get back up and do it again. There's no perfect rules, there's no perfect way of doing it thing, trial and error, but definite behaviours. I feel not expending energy on managing behaviour, because we're working with the energy, not against it, if that makes sense.
Kia ora. That's going to be I got to try that on Monday. Yes.
You must.
Aye.
I've seen a few questions popping up, so I'm not too sure if the text can send me those questions, and then I'll respond to the people. I can barely keep up with them at the moment, but if there's some unanswered questions, if our tech people can send them to me, and I don't mind sharing information later on after this.
Yep. So Brianna Regan. Kia ora, Michelle. Do you have a blog or anything where we can follow your journey?
That's
Or if
Flash
not,
blog.
yeah, that's your new.
No, I might actually start one now that I didn't realise how much interest there was out there, but that might be something I could start. So kia ora for that, whakaaro.
All right. Or do you have a
Gash
TikTok?
blog, yeah.
You might have a TikTok following there, Fire Cooker, Michelle. TikTok.
I don't do TikTok. My baby does TikTok.
Okay, kapai. So we've got Fire Melissa. I found a karakia about Haua Te Rangi, and from my understanding, she's the first star to be seen after the rest, and was wondering if this is right. I'm studying to be a support worker. Okay. Kia ora. Yes, good pātai. We'll put it up to Haua Te Rangi, and hopefully the answer will come to you amongst this webinar series. So, I know all I know is Haua Te Rangi is the celebration star, the wishing star, the one of giving era momo āhuatanga ne. And because there was an earlier question talking about are there 9 Matariki stars? And for now, yes. And before we were all on about whetū whetū nā whetū o Matariki, but now there's iwa. Yes. Haua Te Rangi is tētahi, and Pohutukawa. And Pohutukawa is the whetū of mourning, of rātou to remember, the remembering star of those who have passed before us. So koina takapaku maramatanga e pāna ki tērā. Yes, so it must be rewarding, Koka, Michelle, to see the maramataka in action with your tamariki.
Yep, it's a work in progress, but you've got to keep on implementing it and working with it. And as you use it, you have a better knowing or understanding of when to do certain things. So, yeah, like I said, you've got to explore it and experience it.
Aye. Hang on, I work in an... Kia ora, Debbie, I've just looked at your question. I work in an ECE centre. We are currently working on Matariki. My question is, can we put up a Matariki display or mural that stays all year? From my learning, I feel it should be visual all year round. Yep. Aye. Yeah, because they're guiding stars. Yeah, we celebrate Matariki in a certain time of the year, but they are still, every star still has their whakaaro, their identity, their significance. Yeah. And if you're going to do something like base your values or your principles, your mātāpono around ngā whetū, how cool is that? Aye.
Mm-hmm.
Fire. Have you encountered parents that are resistant to maramataka? How would you approach this?
Myself, I've never had any issues using maramataka. If anything, I think they're more supportive of it than anything else. If anyone asks questions about it, I can sit with them and have a conversation. And in the end, it's like, oh, this is cool. I wish we had this when we were at school. People actually taking time to understand what's going on. It's not just the children's behaviour. These things in our environment that are affecting us. So if anything, I've had nothing but positive remarks and comments. I've never had and because we're Māori people as well, we want to embrace all those sorts of things. That's the mātauranga we want for our tamariki. So, yeah, maybe if I was teaching in America or something, or somewhere where, the values are different, the culture is different, then maybe there'd be some conflict. But, nah, don't have that problem at all.
Kia ora. Okay, ka pai. And I think there's a few people that would like to get in contact with you, and I'm sure they will be able to do that Or, you know, just call in, Hiru Harama.
45 Hiru Harama Road.
Estes rewana e Hiru Harama. Ai, ka pai e te whānau. I think we are wrapping up our session now. Hang on. If you are a kaiako and parents are resistant, yep. Kia ora mo tērā Maria. Mo tō maramatanga ki tērā pātai. Oh, what does maramataka mean? What does maramataka mean, please? Okay. So maramataka is general translation, literal translation is calendar. And when we're talking about it, we're talking about the moon phases and using the Māori moon phases. And as Kuka Michelle was talking about, it's, each moon phase brings a different energy. And so she uses that calendar system in her classroom to plan, to work around the different energies that her children, that us, would be experiencing at that time. So,
can I just add to that kōrero from the ECE teacher with regards to the Matariki Stars? So I heard one of Dr. Rangi Mātāmua's kōrero, and so wherever you are on planet Earth, when you view Matariki from wherever you are, there are usually stars that are brighter than others. So if you can identify what those stars are, the ones that shine the brightest, so if it's Waiti, Waita, Waipunarangi, whatever that is, those stars the kai that's related to that star will be plentiful. And if the stars are dull, so it might be the kumara won't be growing that well that season, so not to put too much energy in the growing of kumara, but you'll be getting kai from the stars that reflect that particular kai. Does that make sense?
Aye.
Yeah. So, and then, down South Island, the stars may be different down there in terms of which ones are brighter. And then they'll know the kai in that area is going to be whatever the stars chose. So you're able to read and tell for the year what kai is going to be plentiful and what kai is not going to be plentiful. Yeah.
Right. Well, kia ora te whānau. I see that you're still hard out, typing out in that chat box. This chat box will be saved, and I'm sure that Kuka Michelle will have time to respond to some of your questions when they send out the information to you all. Engari, he mihi nunui tēnei mai I kawarau, me whareponga ne?
Ai.
Kuka. Tai rāwhiti whareponga?
Yeah.
Waipiro. Te tai rāwhiti, East Coast. Maua, I moi ia koutou I tēnei ata, he mihi nunui tēnei kia koe Kuka Michelle, kua tai mai koe ki te kōrero ki te menenga. Heoi anō, he mihi mahana, he mihi maioha tēnei ki a koutou katoa e mātakitaki mai ana. Nō reira, I runga I timatau ki tētahi karakia, me whakakapi au I tēnei, mea iti, and then Kuka Michelle's going to play her going out music. Nō reira, ki runga, ki raro, rire, hau pai mārire. Kia ora, kei a koe, Kuka, karawhiua.
Okay, I'm just going to try and get it going.
Otherwise,
very conducive to learning for little kids.
Can you hear that?
Yep.
That's in a nutshell. Sort of
This is just her outro.
And also the significance of the song.
Can you hear it?
yeah, not very well though, Kuka.
Should have had my speaker. Sorry.
marama anara matariki matariki kori kori ko anara Tuki anara matariki matariki kimo kimo anara Kanapa anara matariki matariki anara Matariki anani matariki matariki matariki
Kia ora. Tūmana ko Kururangi te kaitiko. Ngā mihi aroha ki a koutou katoa.
Catchy tune.
Ai, kia ora. Kau e warware koutou ka timata te webinar tuarua. Akwa nei. Very soon.